Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.
Alrighty. You guys ready for, I feel like we all came off of such a high last Sunday that, do you feel like every Sunday should be like that? I mean, I feel like we'd all be so exhausted, though. For those of you who are not here, we had a beautiful baptism, and it was a celebration of our deacon for her 35 years of commitment to ministry. So it was just an amazing Sunday, and I really have to say, it was the essence of St. Anne's. It was kind of like Christmas Eve. There are just days that are just like the essence of this church, and that was one of them. So I apologize if this Sunday is not quite as essence-y. I can't do it all the time. It's exhausting. But we do have a lot of fun things going on. So I think that is worth noting. So for those of what? Yes, it's a fun church. So for those of you who are preparing for confirmation, we'll do our first confirmation class after the service. And for those of you who are just curious about the Episcopal Church and have questions about it, I strongly encourage you to come attend. But let's talk about the gospel. So I feel like I should say a little bit about Mark. Because we're gearing up for Mark. This is Mark's year. Mark gets a year. Every synoptic gospel gets a year, right? Have you noticed that we read the whole Bible every 3 years? I know, for those churches who are like, we're a biblical church. I'm like, what does that mean? Isn't that like all of them? But we're truly, the mainline churches, we're really, truly, we follow the lectionary. The lectionary means that in 3 years we read the entire Bible. And so every year has kind of the main synoptic gospel. Now John gets sprinkled in there all the time because John is John and John is his own self. He doesn't play by the same rules that Matthew, Mark, and Luke do. John makes his own rules. But this is the year of Mark. So I feel like every gospel writer has kind of their kind of feel, their ethos. Does that make sense? They all have kind of how they communicate and how they write and their feel for things. Mark is short and sweet. In fact, for people who are want to read the Bible for the first time, because the tradition, people are like, I'm going to read the whole Bible all the way through. I'm like, don't do that to yourself. Because they start at the beginning. They're going to read it like the same way you do every Bible. Don't do that. That is not how it's meant to be read. Don't do it. Because we're coming up on Lent, and at some point, one of you is going to be like, my Lenten commitment is to read the whole Bible. Okay, if you decide to do that, talk to me. There are ways to read the Bible that stay true to the Bible. That is not one of them. Don't start at the beginning and go to the end. That's not how it's meant to be done. But I always tell people, start with Mark. Mark is short, sweet, and he gets to the point. Mark loves some action. He's our action-packed gospel. So for Mark loves a good miracle. Mark is our miracle writer. So he is, like I said, action-packed Jesus. And really, he starts with miracles, and he's like, bam, 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 bam. So get ready. There are going to be a lot of miracles for Mark. This is our first one. So now that you've gotten the rundown of Mark, I don't know how helpful that is, but every once in a while I feel like we just have to do some scripture breaking through and do some teaching. So I always like to do that. So this particular miracle, I think, has a lot to say to us in the church. Because I don't know if you've noticed this about Christians, but sometimes, not all, sometimes Christians think that we are immune to bad things. Like, once you say that you are committed to the Christian faith, you're perfect. It's those people out there who make bad decisions. Those people out there are capable of evil. But we here, we don't do that here. Isn't that comforting? Isn't it comforting to know that you are not capable of evil? Good news. My kids are like, she's absolutely capable of evil. I mean, let me tell you that the Meg that arrives to church is very different than the Meg who gets us to church. Okay? Yeah, Mom Meg is different than Priest Meg. Like, Mom Meg this morning was screaming. Okay, here's a mom story. My children aren't supposed to have uncovered drinks or snacks in my living room. It's because I'm raising frat boys. I get that they're girls. You don't want a mom as a priest because you will be sermon fodder. So I'm making my coffee, go into my living room, and there's trash. Trash. Which meant somebody had snacks in my living room when I had gone to bed. By bed, I mean I went upstairs to work on the sermon for today. This wasn't going to be in the sermon because I didn't know about it yet. And I was like, "Rah!" Okay. So, good news. Once we're Christians, we're not capable of evil. That's where that really was coming from. My children are like, she's evil. But I think what's powerful in this particular story is the context in which it occurs. Where does this first miracle occur? It occurs in the synagogue, which means that the person who is experiencing this evil is in church. Which means, I don't know if you're paying attention to what that means, but that means that we here who are committed to the faith are not necessarily immune from all that stuff, those bad choices and all that stuff. It means we can be a part of that too. Ooh, that's rough to hear. Because the whole point why we set aside Sunday morning is so that, like, we're the good ones, right? Like, don't you want to check this off your list and be like, hey, I'm one of the good ones. I went on Sunday. I, like, did my thing. Because, like, seriously, like, 20% of the country actually cares about church. Like, you're a minority, just so you know. But I think that's worth noting. Because it means that Jesus is acting in the same place that he's teaching. Which means you and I are not immune, but it also means that we are surrounded and available for grace in Jesus' actions by virtue of where we are. I hope that's a little bit comforting. So while we are not immune to the poor decisions and the evil and all that stuff that we are capable of, we're also surrounded and held by people who are going to help us get through it. Anyone here not made a bad decision? I mean, me, obviously. I mean, besides this morning. But since I got here, I've made some pretty good decisions. Anyone else not made bad decisions? All right, good to know. Okay. However, the good news is when you are going through something, other people in this congregation are going to help you get through it. They're going to help you work through that demon. I hope that's comforting. I hope that means that we know that this is a safe place to go through whatever it is that we're going through. Because the good news is, while you're going through some really rough stuff, other people are going to support you through it. And that also means, while other people are going through some really rough stuff, you are going to support them through it. That's how we do this Christian life. Not because we are immune and somehow perfect by right of our being here, but because we recognize we have some rocky stuff and we need a community to help us get through it. And because we are committed to being that community for other people. That is the power of this gospel. Not that this man can't have his demons, but that Jesus is going to be present in that place for him. And that community is going to be present for him in that place. He is not rejected for his demons. He is held with his demons. No, that doesn't mean the demons are okay. But it does mean that he's not rejected for them. The church is not a country club for perfection. It's a hospital for sinners. I know. I mean, I hope it's not a country club because I ain't been dressing appropriately for a country club. But the reality is we're all going through stuff. We're all wrestling demons. We just are. I mean, I probably wouldn't have as many demons if people didn't snack in my living room and spill things. But, you know, it is what it is. But did you know that the moms in this church, we have a group text? Yeah, all the dads know. Yeah, the dads know about the group text. And I'll tell you, the group text is not to be like, oh, the moms of St. Anne's are so glorious. No, it's more of a, do you know what my kid did today? Yeah. And it's about a support system. The men's group gets together on Saturdays. It's a support system. It's not judging all the other men out there who don't go to church. It's about looking out for each other and supporting each other. That's what church is, folks. It's not saying that there are no demons. It's saying we're going to wrestle them together. And that is the power of this gospel. And I hope, as much as I told you we're all demon-filled, I hope I also told you we're all demon-filled. It's all in how you say it. Also,
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.